Welcome. It's another Dorman Lunch and Learn. This is July 2025. A hot July out here in New York. Welcome to the Dorman Presents the Lunch and Learn TopDon Phoenix Elite Scan Tool. There's no handout for this, so if you're looking for a handout, you're going to go, oh well. You already know who I am. If not, oh well, I'm Jerry, Craphead, whatever you want to call me. I still get paid no matter what. We're going to be working on this Phoenix, so a lot of this we're going to run through. We have a vehicle over here to my right. It is a 03 Chevy pickup 2500. So the first thing we're going to do is actually go into Generic OBD II. We're going to see what the scan tool can do. And what do you think is going to be important things to look at in Generic? And if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know I always say, start with Generic OBD II. Why? Because it has things in there like freeze frame, pending codes, and a bunch of good information. So I just put this tool on here a bit earlier. Let's see what it can do. You'll make the decision. It seems to be a formidable tool. We'll do Generic first, and then we'll go into the enhanced side, the Chevy side of it. So let's switch to this camera. We're going to hit OBD II. We're going to hit OK. It has a Bluetooth box here. So Doreen, just go in on this while it's doing that. This is the little box that comes with it. I have a extended cable on it. You can buy the cables from obd2cables.com. They make some very good cables, or wherever you want for that matter, okay? Not here to sell you anything. So now that we're back on here, it comes up with the VIN number. We're gonna hit enter. And now we have important data that you need to look at, right? You have the IM readiness. You have the freeze frame in mode 2. You have the clear faults. Keep your finger away from that until you take screenshots. Test results of onboard monitoring mode 6. Read the VIN information. The VIN information mode 9. Okay. And then you got mode 1 live data. Read fault codes. And you got mode 8 and 7 and 0A. 0A, would this vehicle have mode 0A, mode 10? Would it? And what would that answer be? Hey, Bucks County, hey, Long Island, Wyoming. What would it be? Okay, someone says it's going to have mode 10. What year did I say the vehicle was? Good. Don puts 2011 or newer, 2010 or newer. Okay, started in 10. Almost every vehicle in 10 had it, but 11 is fine as well. Just remember 010 in 10. Good. Okay, so then we have mode 1 live data, read codes. We did that, test results in 02. Mode 5, would this have mode 5? What's mode 5? Well, it's oxygen sensor test, and this vehicle is too new to have oxygen sensor test. Then you got mode 8. How many of you have luck with mode 8? What's mode 8? Mode 8 is gonna give you the ability to actually go in to the vehicle and close the vent solenoid. Now, it doesn't work on every scan tool, doesn't work on every manufacturer's vehicle. So be aware of that, okay? And then you have something here, EU, CB, FM. So let's go through number 1, read the readiness monitors. Now, it only comes up to read status after DTCs have been cleared. So I'm not sure what that means. That could be the terminology. It's in ECU number 10. Number 10 is The engine controller says misfire monitor ready, fuel ready, comprehensive ready. They're always ready, right? They are always ready to run. Doesn't have, it says, this is weird, catalyst monitor not supported, heated cat not supported, evap not supported, secondary air not supported, gas particulate filter not supported, O2 monitor not supported, O2 heater not supported, and EGR not supported. Now, I don't know why, but something like this needs to be reported to them. Of course, we went into generic OBD II, and let's see if I help the help button. Please choose at least one item. Hit O2. Okay, so they don't have that. I'm going to get out of that. Let's go to freeze frame. Now, of course, it should have had codes, and just the way this would be in your shop is the same way it's going to be here. So this is data stream. It has the DTC 308. It happened at 9% of throttle, 10 grams of air, 3 point something calculated load, 194 degrees. It was in closed loop. Intake absolute pressure, 5 point something. Long-term fuel trim, it disappeared on me. Long-term fuel trim 0. And long-term bank 2, 5. Short-term 7 on bank 1. And bank 2, 4. Vehicle speed was 20 miles an hour. So we definitely got an imbalance right there with long-term. Short and long-term fuel trim is called what? What's short and long-term together fuel trim called? Because that's an important thing to look at. Okay. And should have supported the CAT, EGR, evap? Yes, it definitely should have. Not sure why it's not showing it here. I did look earlier, and I did find that information as well. Okay, so we're not going to hit mode 4. Let's look at mode 6. Okay, mode 4, I don't want to clear the codes because it has a real code that we're going to have to diagnose. Now, it says here, no manufacturer data defined. Don't know. I didn't make the tool. You know, this is why I want to show you. We get a lot of these different tools every once in a while. Not saying it's bad. It may do real well on the enhanced side. But I'm going to give this feedback to TopDon. I will email them today or tomorrow and say, hey, we were on this vehicle and it did not give me this information. Okay? Because when you never complain about a tool unless you're going to give the info to the manufacturer, right? They may not know this is not working. And by the way, all updates have been done multiple times. There's no updates left on this. Now here's a good one. Mode 9. So let's see the VIN number. And that is the last 4 of the VIN. Yep, I can see it from here. And then with the 89 at the end. Not sure why they have HK at the end of it, but all the numbers seem correct, so I'm okay with that. Calibration numbers. Very important here to go through the calibration numbers. There's a whole bunch of different numbers there. And Cal ID number. So good information here as well. All right, let's read fault codes. It got a P0308. And let's try this code search that they have here. Okay, goes out and it's using AI overview, and it comes up with information on P0308. Could even load a video for you. We're not going to play that video. And there is a lot of good stuff out there with AI. Okay, so right here it gives us that information on 8. Okay. Where would you go with P0308? We obviously know it's a misfire on cylinder 8, correct? Right? We all would agree upon that. What causes a misfire? What would you do as your first step in diagnosing this vehicle? Right? As a misfire. So let's see. Good. Relative compression. Who put that in? Don. Excellent, Don. Hopefully you're doing well. And for misfire, well, it could be spark related, but Don hit the nail on the head. If we got a mechanical problem, why are we going to worry about spark? Everything from spark plugs, wires, coils, that's all related. What else? Okay, Catawba, look into service information, but I didn't ask that yet, right? That's a good thing to do, is remember your brain, your eyes, your ears, your nose, your hands. Most important tools. How many times you've seen something, smelled something, felt something? Bingo. Well, not fuel trim yet, okay? But we can look at the fuel system could cause a misfire problem, okay? Well, mode 6 would be a good place to look at, but I said, what causes, right? What causes a misfire? So we got compression, we got spark, we got fuel. Anything else, gentlemen and ladies? Anything else? The answers are not wrong, but they're not the answers to my question, right? How about EGR? Can that cause a misfire? Got to think about that. How about cam and crank sync? If we have a crank sensor problem, okay? And vacuum leak, yeah, that would be basically under mechanical. And vacuum leak only happens at idle, can't really cause a misfire, can cause fuel trims to go wacky and be maybe a misfire, okay? So how about a cracked flex plate or tone wheel? Those are all related to crank sensor and can cause a problem. So good. And let's look at the last thing here. We're not going to have mode 5, because mode 5 is 1996 to the year about 2000, sometimes 2001. So confirm onboard is unavailable for this as well. And let's look at EU, see what they have there. Now this tells us total fuel consumed, but there's, let me click on it, see if it gives me anything. It doesn't. Okay, so here's that. We know we can't get any, let's look at mode 5 anyway. And any information in mode 5 would be erroneous. Why would it be erroneous? Well, they haven't used mode 5 since 2000, early 1. So let's see what it comes up with. You got to remember one thing. If you're using a tool and it's not giving you the right results, you need to have another tool. How many of you out there have more than one scan tool? Okay. You should have a minimal of 2 in your shop. Don has 3, I think it said. Very good, Don. Anyone else? Well, if you rely, good. 3, 5, 6, wow. All right. 2, you need at least 2. Okay. 5, good, okay. So see, this came up with a fail on bank 1, sensor 1. There's no way. And it's given us readings here. But you can look in service information. And by the way, Generous Motors, GM, will allow you to go on their website and look at information. And mode 5 is not on a 2003 vehicle. That should be in mode 6. So the software here on Generic needs a little work. I'll give them some feedback on that. So we're going to get out of this. And now let's go into Chevy. I'm going to select Chevy. Nice touch screen. It's a Bluetooth device. So I hit OK. It's doing loading. And we're going to do an automatic search. Let's see if it'll do it. Key is on. Battery maintainer is on. If you hear a little hum in the background, that is the maintainer. All right, that is the correct VIN number. So we're going to say yes. And you see it is a 2003 Chevy. It is a 4-speed automatic. The weight is under that. It is a 4-wheel drive or and it's manual AC, base radio. And sometimes different manufacturers ask you questions like that. It's basically whatever they ask, you got to try to get them the right info. Okay. All right, so the weight again came up for some reason. We're going to hit it again. And now we have a nice topography chart. Let's try Smart Scan first. Because you know what? We all need to be smart. I can use some smart in my head, right? So let's see that. So now it's going to query these different modules. You could see up top the key. Green is normal, red abnormal, blue is scanned, grayed out not scanned and not equipped with a little gray bar. So as it's going through, this is a good thing to do with any scan tool that has that. Okay. So a little bit boring right now as it's going through, doing its own thing, nothing we can do. Then wait and see what it does, right? But we do know already we got one DTC you can see on the powertrain module. It has OnStar. And we got something up there in blue. It's scanned, but it's not green, so something may not be normal right there as well. We'd have to look into that. So once you invest the time in it, and it's not taking a long time, it's taking a few minutes, which is normal. There's other scan tools, I'm not going to mention the names, you know which ones. We've done quite a few different scan tools. Why is the voltage at 13.4? Because I have a battery maintainer on it. Okay. Could only do that if the company sent me a max. I don't have a max. This is what they sent out. So, you know, we do have other classes on certain things that companies that work with us, maybe more in the future, we'd be more than glad. And anytime a scan tool company has something they want me to try out, send it in. I'm giving you my honest opinion. And if there is a mistake that I make as I'm looking through it, I'll be the first one to go back and admit it. Okay, so let's look at the red first. That is going to tell us, now look, Generic told us 308. Manufacturer is telling us 300. We can do a report on it. And by the way, this vehicle has 300,000. 285. So I think the Chevy is in pretty damn good shape, right? Now let's see diagnostic plan. It's doing its old thing. The report been sent. Let's see what it says for a diagnostic plan. Took a picture of it. So nothing came up there. Let's go to the blue. Driver door module. Let's see if it has a full code, excuse me. And always look at current and history. So it says everything is normal. Special functions on it. Output control. Door lock and unlock. I can't do the window because it'll grab my cable. I don't know if you heard that. Could you guys hear that? That little clicking. So its test does work. That's good. Bi-directional test can save you some aggravation. Data stream, let's take a peek at that. You can select all of them. So there's battery voltage there. Memory switchback, mirror fold, window current motor, really nice, and obviously you can grab stuff real quick. You can do min-max on it. Put it in there. Pretty nice. So nothing is really bad in here, but at least we got to see in this module. All right, let's go back one more and let's see what System Scan does in comparison. Now, there always is a difference in how they have different scans on there. So that's that. Will this go into hybrid and EV battery information? Haven't tried it on 1 miles. I could later on. We do have an EV outside and a hybrid. Yesterday we had, I think, 3 hybrids in here. So now look, powertrain came up in blue on this scan. So all it's telling me is it scanned the module, and now I have conflicting information, which, remember we went to generic first where I would always go. It said 308. We went into enhanced. It said 300. And now, let's see when I click on this when it's done, why don't I have the powertrain in red? I can't answer that yet. And again, I'm giving you an honest live assessment of what the tool can do or not do. Now granted, this is on one vehicle. This is a vehicle we have in for a diag. Customers complaining that it has a misfire. So either 300 is correct or 308 is correct. Obviously, I would suggest everyone out there look like, hey, I have at least 2 scan tools. I'm going to put this on another scan tool when I'm done. And that way, when I do contact TopDon, I could say, hey, this other scan tool gave me this information. And I have many other ones here. I'll put it on at least 2 other tools to see what comes up. And that way we can see what's going on. So first I'm going to hit this, see what it says. Read fault code. $300 again. So you can put a DTC name in it, diagnostic status. So it gives you a list of stuff that's not ran. Okay. Freeze frame. Usually you don't get freeze frame in that. I believe the current scan you are doing just lets you know modules are equipped on the vehicle. Okay. Probably correct. Or both, but at least we see what it can do or can't do. All right. Now you can go into oop, didn't want to do that. And of course, when you first get a scan tool, a good idea is to go into demo mode and play with it, right? That way you know what is on the vehicle and how the scan tool actually operates. So I'm going to go into the PCM. Let's look at things like fuel trim and all that. I think the data, the 303 is coming from the engine computer, and OBD2 portion of the computer sees it as a 308. GM side ranks it. It could be. That could be done. Okay, so we look at the full code one more time. Definitely 300 here. Let's look at data stream. Engine data. Now this breaks it down just like GM. You got engine data 1, engine data 2, fuel trim, misfire data, enhanced, heated O2, cruise, and throttle actuator. Well, since I'm basically having a misfire problem, guess which one I'm going to pick? You got it. I'm going to pick misfire. I'm going to select all these PIDs and see what we got. Going to start this up in a minute, so it'll probably be a little noisy. Yeah, Jim, that's good. Failure records, GM does have them. Okay. So let's start it up and see if we see anything out of the ordinary on this. Reach around. Okay, we can see it's a cold engine. And by the way, when you're on a cold engine, you should look at engine temperature, ECT and IAT, and they should be within 5 to 10 degrees of each other. So there's our engine speed. Inject the pulse width since it's cold, going to be a little higher than normal. Got 6 pounds of pressure, 12 grams of air. And here's the misfire counter. Misfire history. 2 on number 5. 59 on number 7, and there's cylinder 8. 5,201. Let's see if anything bounces up even more. Get my big head out of the way. You can hear it misfiring. But this is staying pretty steady. I'm not going to load it up. But you can see you got multiple misfires. It's not over the limit, but this one, the set of code is. So if you have a car in there, you can compare a sample of a good vehicle. You could save a sample. And then you could see minimum, maximum values. That's a pretty neat function. You can graph them all. And not a bad sized graph for this tablet. Notice our charging voltage up there, 14.5, that's pretty damn good. Number of misfires, you see that's counting up. AC is off. Engine speed, injector is now down to 4 milliseconds as it's warming up. Mass air is 7 grams. Oh, and if you touch on it, it actually goes up to one big graph. So it definitely has some misfires, as you can see. You can record it, which is not a bad thing to do. And you see the one in orange? Look at the big piece that went down here. That's misfires. So it does a nice job graphing. The update rate looks pretty good. And you see when you graph, your eye may not catch numbers that are a problem, but those up and downs that you see here could definitely indicate a problem. Huh. Look at that big dip that just happened. So there's our misfire data. And of course, General Motors was really nice when they made all this type of data. Engine 1, if we select all of them, you're going to get slower readings on stuff. So when they group them, the grouping is really to help you get the fastest data rate. Now I see something coming up that I'll speak about in a second. There's our barrel, which looks good. Fuel level sensor in the tank. Air condition off. Current gear 1, we're in park. Desired, when you see desired idle speed, very important that you're pretty close to those numbers. You don't want to be more than 50 or 100 off. DT set, C set this ignition, no. Temperature went up pretty quick, up to 160 something. 2% engine load on there. Purge percentage, it's venting. Fuel trim cell. So I always bring that up. Fuel trim cell, we're on cell 17. Okay. Heated O2s. Long-term fuel trim, bank 1, bank 2. So you're at 3% on bank 2. Where's bank 2? On the left side of the vehicle. And if that was cylinder 8 that had the problem, we can see why. Always a good thing to look at theft deterrent if you have a no start. Not our problem here. No reduction in engine power. Short term, trying to take fuel away on one bank, really not bad. Spark advance, something else to look at. So there's what engine 1 has. Engine 2 just gives you more information. And again, if you don't have problems in these areas, you know, wasting your time looking at it when you should be honing down on the real problem area. Okay, so here's 4-wheel drive, fan relays, air condition, camshaft position sensor, coolant switch. Hey, we had a good one yesterday. Jeep, late model Jeep, I think a 23. No remote start. Customers complain. So hits his key fob, the battery's good, okay? It unlocks and locks doors. What would prevent a start from a key fob? A remote start. Then I'll give you the answer. Very good, Don. A hood switch or a code. Excellent, Don. Don is a sharp tech that goes to training. He's been here, and you know, we don't know what we don't know in life, but it has 2 hood switches. Unfortunately, it wasn't the inexpensive hood switch. It was the whole assembly. The lock assembly is the only way they sell the hood switch for hood switch primary and hood switch secondary. Has one right on the left side of the hood, driver's side of the car, and it is an up and down switch. So to prove them out, to make sure it's working, what would you do? Got a hood switch. And don't tell me ohm them out. You could do that, but how can you tell real quick? Okay, if you have a code it won't start, good, jump it. So you get a jumper wire, you put it in, and now clear the code, and when you go hit the thing to start it, starts right up, okay? An easy diagnosis. So back to this, you got the generator putting out, and that means the alternator. Fuel trim is down, it's a little higher than normal, almost 4. Air intake, remember what I said before, if we would have looked at air intake and CTS, coolant temperature, they should have been in 5 to 10 degrees of each other if the vehicle was cold. Bank 2, the fuel trim's getting up there. It's 5 point something. Grams of air, 6 liters. So a lot of good data when you go look through it, right? Now let's take a look specifically into fuel trim data. And by the way, I don't have to select all. I could go down and check off what I want, but I'm selecting all so we can kind of get a good view of it. It's a nice sized tablet, by the way. Screen's bright. Evap is venting. We got 20% of the evap system purging. We're still on fuel cell 17. Fuel trim is starting to drop. And now long term is 3 on one bank. Remember that was lower earlier on, and 5 on the other. That's the averages. And there's the 0 and the 5. That's right, we did misfire data. Let's look at evap. Oh, wouldn't you have to know if it's a normally open or closed switch jumping? Pretty simple. Switches are pretty simple. Always disconnect the wires from it with the key off. You could take your ohm meter, put it across there, and when the switch was up, you get OL when you put the switch down, so it's a normally open. When the hood's open, when you close it, then obviously you get an ohm reading. Okay. Whew. So you can see we're venting, fuel level sensor. We're in closed loop, which is important. And look at the desired angle and the indicated angle. We're real close. That's kind of perfect. So when you see desired, that's giving you the spec. Now let's see if we can do some bi-directional stuff. Got actuator test. I'm going to shut it off so we could hear maybe the AC relay click or whatever. And this thing's running real lousy. Even with the exhaust on, it's kind of smelly. So we'll leave that fan on for a while. We don't want to kill Doreen. She's the camera lady. So here's fan relays. You can see it's switching on. I don't hear the clicking, but there is noise in the background. I'll try all the relays. I think I hear some clicking. Command state on AC. Let's see about the fuel pump. Good way to current ramp the fuel pump. Or if you want to get gas out of it, right? Open a line in the safe, oops, sorry about that, in a safe container. Oh. Come on, camera. I'm not even near you. We'll turn that off. And you can change the loop status. Let's see special functions. You can do an oil reset. Cylinder balance test. Fuel trim reset. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to press on it. So when you have fuel trims that are out of whack, you really need to go here and clear that data out. That's important. Okay. Fuel trim balance test. Okay, I'm going to have to start it back up again. Notice here. So let me start the engine up, see if we can do a cutout and actually hear it. Because that would be important to know when you have a misfire, right? Oh, come on. Okay, let me try to get that focus off. Okay, so let's try cylinder balance. Set the park brake, drive wheels, start the engine. Ejector 1. And I don't know if you could hear it, but the engine is like misfiring. Okay, let's try injector number 2. You hear that blub, 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 blub? So this would help you rule out, is it a fuel problem in that cylinder? If you don't hear that thumping, and I don't know, can they hear that or they can't? And when we get to number 8, and this is a vortex motor, so it may have that spider gear set up. And if it's the old one, it's the plastic tubes. Yeah, you could hear the engine loping. So it does a very nice job bi-directional. It looks like it does the enhanced side quite well. So I'll just give them the information on their OBD2 side. And a lot of people don't use OBD2. Okay, so far, let's see what number 8 does now. Yeah, there is definitely a change. Be nice if they showed you RPM as well when you're doing that. Yeah, I'm not sure how much the tool actually goes for. You know, that is a good question. How long are the updates? I don't know, they didn't supply me with that information. But I think it's very reasonable, and I do have a couple of friends that have this tool, and they kind of like it. And I can see why they like it. It's really a nice setup. And you see this crankshaft, blah, blah. Oh, 1 year. Thank you, whoever put that in there. That's good. So there's crankshaft position variance learned. So it tells you here, accelerate wide open throttle, raise the throttle when fuel cutoff occurs. And if this is, since it's a V8, at 4,050, 150 RPMs, was a 6-cylinder, you basically put the park brake on. We're not going to do that. But it's very important for crank to be synced. If crank is not synced, you can really have an issue, right? And remember, we did say that one of the problems is, yeah, one of the problems is basically you could have a flex plate or crank cam sensor issue given that. Let's take a look into something different here. Let's look at ABS, just for the hay. Okay. Fault code's always a good place to go. Current and history. Nothing there current. History with 300-something thousand. Wow, and nothing. Pretty damn good. Question, can it control ABS motors? Well, let's see. Actuation test. I'm going to shut the ignition off, or the engine off, I should say, and then we can hear some of that stuff. Okay. Here's ABS motor. I think I hear a click. Let's see if we can get something and maybe a little. I'll do the lamp test. Or maybe a solenoid test. I'm going to do the left front solenoid. See if we hear it. Yeah, it's hard for you to hear it. Let me shut that fan off. A lot less noise now. Let's see if we hear it. You hear that? Hopefully you can hear that. So it does the test. Okay. So that's pretty damn good there, that it does bi-directional test. Did the light bulb, let's see, data stream. And I got 24 different PIDs. And I'm not sure how many GM had for this year or whatever, but you know what I like is if you can do the data, have the data on and do bi-directional, right? That really shows you something is really happening. But remember, you could hear it. And if you hear it, yeah, it is happening. Let me shut the lights off. We don't want to kill this thing. So I'm saying this is a pretty nice tool. Anyone out there know how much it goes for? You can probably look it up on your phone for me. Give me an idea. Someone's on vacation. Lucky you. Can perform evap service test. Yep, they can do that. It has ABS. We can't hear the fan, Mike. Okay. Oh, you guys couldn't hear the fan. Yeah, these Sennheisers, I could hear the fan. But sometimes it's hard.
They can't hear the click because of the fan.
Oh, is that what he's saying?
I believe so.
All right. Any questions? And it has, you know, you can go into radio. I mean, it looks like a formidable tool. I just don't know. Oh, someone had it there. Oh, $4,000, $39.95. Okay. And I tell you, the touch screen is really nice. I don't have to really bang on it. Okay. 1,500. Okay. Yeah, I think that's more like it. I think their big tool is about $4,000. So for $1,500, pretty nice. And someone said it's 1 year update, because there are some tools out there that sometimes give you more. Oh, an AES Wave. Thanks, Don, because AES Wave usually sells it pretty close to the price. Electric park and brake control. Let me see if we go into brakes. I don't think, well, this doesn't have electric park and brake. Okay. So it probably would do it, is what I'm thinking. But if it's not on the vehicle, it can't do it. So we're going to switch back to the slides because we're at the end of our setup here. So we went over this tool, the Elite, Phoenix Elite. You got a whole bunch of stuff here up front. And I'm going to give them feedback as soon as we end this here. I'm going to email them and give them the information. And you should do that. Okay? The reason why you should do that, how are they going to fix something if they don't know it's broken? You know, I've beta tested a lot of different tools for years. And of course, with the feedback, they could help fix those particular problems. Without it, and it's unfair for someone to say, oh, you know, that tool is a piece of junk. No, 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 no. Everyone, even factory tools, have mistakes in them. They need to have feedback on it. So please give them feedback. Okay, Dorman training here, our Dorman Lunch and Learn. We'll have something totally different for you next month. Free Dorman Lunch and Learns, as you know, and tomorrow, don't forget to see my buddy Swede. Swede, if I'm not mistaken, is doing heavy duty AC. So check that out tomorrow at lunchtime, okay? We have paid for webinars as well. My buddy Kenny Sanders, he will be doing a 2-hour webinar on parasitic draw. He has a whole bunch of neat tools. I gave you guys a parasitic draw one for an hour, showed you some stuff. Kenny has a way more stuff in that 2-hour paid for webinar. The webinars are $40 at the time. We do have a subscription plan. So a subscription plan means you pay a fee and you could watch a whole bunch of videos that we've done. Seminars, we have live seminars all over. Josh Weaver is also doing a hands-on class. If you're down in the Philadelphia type area at Max Mobile Air Climate Systems, at the Max building, there will be an e-scan class coming up, hands-on. There are still some seats left. Go to the DormanTrainingCenter.com website for that. Hands-on training, well, that's one of them. And in-shop training. So if you want us to do some in-shop training, go check us out at Dorman there. And we have something called Revved Up. So Dorman has teamed up with Motor Age, and we will be basically having this setup here called Revved Up, Smarter Solutions for Faster Repairs. Join this in-person training hosted by Dorman Training Center and Motor Age Magazine. Full day, it is basically down in PA. It is at the Automotive Training Center, or ATC, where my buddy, I forgot his name, I'm glad he's my buddy. Jim, thank you. I forgot Jim's last name. Jim Morton, thank you. Boy, senior moments pop in. Jim Morton used to work there. Great place, great school. It'll be on September 20th, 8:30 it starts in the morning. Afternoon sessions start at 1:30. There'll be myself, Pete Meyer, Ken Zanders, Josh Weaver. It's 149. We give you food and stuff. You get books, and the subject matter is up in your diagnostic skills, new information in there. Pete's doing diagnostic strategies. In the afternoon, you got to pick from either Ken Zanders, your diagnostic worksheet, or driving down the rabbit hole with Josh Weaver. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will look at them here.
Bill wants to know if you could do a class on Autel TS900.
We do a class on Autel using their, I think it's Maxi something or another. The big tool. I know they just came out with another one. It's hard to keep track of all the different names of the tools now. But when you come to that class, we do them, we offer them down in Florida, we offer them here in the New York area, we offer them in the Chicago area. Kenny has just done one. And we do them in the PA area. So you can check that out, give me more information on the tool. I want to thank you guys for coming out. But thank you all again. If you think it was helpful, type a letter Y. If you think it wasn't, put a letter S for sucks. How's that? Okay. But thank you again. From New York, I'm G. Truglia for Dorman Training. Have a great day and a great summer. See you next month. Oh, one last thing before we go. Tonight, for free, TST Roundtable, we are interviewing Steve Shabrin from Max. So if you got air conditioning questions, he's the air conditioning guy. That is totally free, whether you're a TST member or not. Okay, 7 o'clock tonight. And next month we have Bernie Thompson. He will be our guest roundtable speaker. And then we get back in September with our regular paid for stuff. So thank you again for Dorman Training Center, G. Truglia here in New York. Have a good one. Thank you again.